And can I even sell food from my home in New York City? Well, in this video from Cottage Foods Laws, we're going to dive into specifically what you need to do in order to start selling food from home legally in New York. And you'd be shocked at how much money you can actually sell. We're going to dive into that right now. All right, so are you passionate about creating delicious homemade foods and dream of sharing them with others and even just making some money on the side doing it? So if you're considering selling your baked goods, jellies, or snack mixes, you may qualify for what's known as home processor exemption in New York State. This exemption allows you to prepare food in your own home kitchen for wholesale or retail sale at agricultural farm venues without the need for an Article 20C license, believe it or not. So in this video, we will provide an overview of the home processor's exemption and the guide you through the entire process and registration itself. So before we do, definitely hit the subscribe button. This is Cottage Foods Laws. My name is Damian Roberti. I'm a food entrepreneur. My wife and I, Sylvia, have been online for over 14 years with our food businesses. We have several YouTube channels here on YouTube dedicated to food entrepreneurship, from food trucks to selling e-commerce food businesses and everything in between. So you definitely want to check those out. One of our channels, we have over 125,000 subscribers and over 7 million views in 50 countries watching our videos, our products. And so if you definitely want to hit the subscribe button, check out those other channels. So let's dive into it. So before we get into the registration process, it's essential actually to determine whether you qualify actually as a home processor. Here are some key points you got to consider before you dive into this now. Marketing channels. As a home processor, you can sell your products at wholesale and or retail through various channels, including agricultural venues like farms, farm stands, farmers markets, what they know as green markets, craft fairs, flea markets, home delivery, or via the internet, believe it or not. Next up is the packaging and labeling. You got to be aware of this too. This is extremely important. All items must be sold within the New York State and must be prepackaged and prepared in your home. Proper labeling is crucial, so you want to include the common and usual name of the product, an ingredient list in a predominance by weight, net quantity of the contents, your name as the processor, and your full address. And also allergens must be clearly identified. So you want to keep that in mind. Now keep in mind too, the FDA does not regulate cottage food businesses that are home-based. Those are state regulations and state rules that are set up by individual states. So the FDA doesn't really regulate or have anything to do with this. So just to get that out of your worrisome mind if you are worried about that as well. So next up is local zoning approval. Now before starting your home-based business, consult with your local zoning officials to ensure your compliance and obtain any necessary approvals, because zoning is important as well. For a lot of people who live in apartment complexes or condos, in some cases, you just want to be sure that if you have like a homeowners association, they're aware of the fact that you are starting a food business. All right, so labeling requirements. Now, accurate labeling is essential. Now, we're going to dive into a little bit more specifics than what I just mentioned. For consumer transparency and safety, you want to make sure. So here are the key elements your product labels should include. Number one, product information. Now, the label should state the common and usual name of the product along with a comprehensive ingredient of list in order of predominance to weight. Net weight. You want to clearly indicate the net weight or quantity of the contents. Now, there's two different things here. If you're selling, let's say, granola mix or trail mix, that's done by weight. You want to make sure that you have the bag labeled as net weight. If you're doing quantity, let's say 2 dozen cookies, 24 cookies, make sure that the quantity is on there and it's specified clearly. Okay, that's the difference between the two. Some people get confused, especially if you're new to food entrepreneurship. You may not understand the difference. Processor details. Now, this would include your name as the processor and your complete address. So unfortunately, you can't use a P.O. box. You can't use your aunt's or your grandmother's house or any of that sort. You have to actually use your home address. Okay, next up, allergen identification. So allergens such as eggs, milk, fish, shellfish, soybeans, peanuts, tree nuts, and wheat must be clearly identified in the product ingredient statement to make sure that people who have allergies are aware of that. Now, there's a thing called cross-contamination. So when you're preparing a food item at home, if you have a cutting board, a pan, a saute, or bowl, or anything like that, a spatula, and it touches other items and potentially wasn't cleaned properly, and people are allergic to shellfish, and you are making cookie dough, there's a potential that someone could have a reaction. So you want to make sure you be very careful about this. Now, by the way, really quick side note, and this is not a requirement, but this is something I recommend to all my clients when I do my consulting. By the way, if you need any consultations or consulting, we have that available. You can talk to me for a half hour or a full hour. We do have consults available as well. So check out the link down below for that too. But you want to make an LLC. Creating an LLC for your food business from home gives you the ability to protect yourself legally in case someone sues you, which does happen actually from time to time. Someone gets sick or someone's hospitalized and you don't have an LLC, you don't have a business license. Being a cottage food or a home processor of food doesn't separate you from liability, let's just say. So I always recommend that. If you're not sure how to do that, you can also check the links down below. We've got some really great resources. You can check those out. You can actually, as a matter of fact, LLCs can be done online in about 10 minutes. Now, number 5, additional phrase. So it's recommended to include a phrase like made at home by your name or what have you, or made in a home kitchen of, Damian Roberti on the label. The font size for the phrase should be at least 1/16 of an inch or larger to make sure that people can see that warning and that aware that this is not made in a commercial facility that is either inspected or licensed by the state. This is a different type of process. All right, so let's dive into approved home processed foods for the state of New York. Now, this is really interesting. What you can make, it's pretty extensive, okay? So everything I'm about to tell you, you can create so many variations, guys. It's literally, you come up with some creative ideas. A few things really quick, like cookies, biscottis, cakes, cake pops, bagels. There are literally infinite amount of different flavors and different ways you can make these. So don't think you're limited by what I'm about to tell you, okay? Because you can make all kinds of variations. So the home processor exemption allows for the production of specific non-potentially hazardous home processed foods. So the following food items are approved under this exemption. Breads, excluding, of course, those with either vegetables or fruits. Reason being, you don't want to have meat, cheeses, or fruits or vegetables in anything you make, because if it's time or temperature sensitive, that is an item that's a no-no, okay? Next up, rolls or cinnamon rolls. You can do biscuits, bagels, muffins, donuts, cookies, baklava, biscotti, cakes, cake pops, cupcakes, brownies, double crust pies, scones, fruit jams and jellies, marmalades made with high acid, low pH fruits, repackaging of commercially dried spices, herbs, or vegetables, soup mixes, fruit, pastas, and baking mixes. Well, that's interesting. Most cottage food states don't allow you to do that, but New York opened that one up. That's interesting. So repackaging commercially dried spices or herbs, soup mixes, pasta, fruit, or vegetables, and baking mixes. That's interesting. Seasoned salts of any kind. Fudges. You can make fudge. There's a whole variety of fudge, and it's a very profitable product, by the way. Popcorn and caramel corn, extremely profitable as well. Peanut brittles, nut brittles, Rice Krispie treats, granolas, and trail mixes. Granola bars, repackaging candy, excluding chocolate, though. That's interesting, too. Most cottage food states don't allow you to repackage candy, but in New York, I guess you can. Waffle cones and pizzelles. You can do toffee and caramel apples. Confections, vegetable chips, crackers, and pretzels. Now, let's dive into some foods that you can't make, and you got to be very careful about this because you don't want to get in trouble. I've heard of people getting fined, and in some cases, even in jail time, believe it or not. It's pretty crazy. Some states do that. I'm not sure about New York State as far as what their fines are, but you don't want to cross that line. So prohibited foods. To ensure public health and prevent, of course, foodborne illnesses, certain food items are prohibited under the home processor exemption. Now, these include homemade buttercream or cream cheese frosting containing dairy and eggs, breads containing fruits and vegetables, products containing alcohol, no bake products, pickles, relish, and sauerkraut. Now, these are fermented foods. It's very interesting because you've got to be very careful. When you're making fermented foods, the acidity and potential bacteria and such, salmonella and stuff, can get into these very bad. So you want to stay away from that. These would be basically items you want to get into a commercial kitchen to do, guys. So sauces, salsas, marinades, mustards, ketchups, pepper jellies, wine jellies, vegetable jellies, flour jellies, and chutneys, cooked or canned fruits and vegetables, cheesecake and cream-filled pastries, vegetable oils or blended oils, salad dressings in a sense, that's a no-no. Tempered chocolates, products containing raw nuts. Only commercially processed nuts you can use. Yes, you can. But raw nuts that have not been either processed properly or cleaned or sanitized or even baked or roasted, no. Meat, fish, or poultry products, beverages, roasted coffee beans, nut butters, freeze-dried fruits, foods actually, including fruits, spreads, quiches, fudge caramel sauces, not fudge, fudge sauces. All right, so let's dive into a few things really quick that are actually relatively known as far as frequently asked questions. We got a handful of frequently asked questions that I'm going to give you 20 of them so I don't take up too much of your time. But of course, you want to understand what is a home processor in the New York State. A home processor is an individual who prepares and sells food products from their home kitchen for wholesale or retail purposes in venues in New York State. Number 2, do I need a license to be a home processor? So no. Home processors in New York State are exempt from the actual Article 20C licensing requirement. What types of foods can I prepare and sell as a home processor? So again, I kind of just went through that whole list: jams and jellies, confections and granolas, things that are not time or temperature sensitive. Now, can I sell my home processed goods at farmers markets or craft fairs? Yes, you can. You can sell your products at agricultural farm venues, which may include farmers markets, crafts fairs, and other similar events, but they have to be in the state of New York. New York State, guys. Don't go over the line and go into New Jersey or Connecticut or other states, whatever may be surrounding, you don't want to go into. Can I sell my home processed goods online? Yes, you can sell your products online within the state of New York, but interstate sales are not allowed. So you cannot ship it over state lines to someone in Georgia or Florida. That's not allowed. Can I sell my home processed goods to restaurants or grocery stores? Yes, that is actually a great question. And you should, because that is a really good way to start generating some buzz and create some revenue. You can sell your products wholesale to local establishments like restaurants, cafes, and grocery stores. Now, do I need to have my kitchen inspected to become a home processor? No. Kitchen inspections are not required for home processors in New York State. Inspections are typically conducted on a complaint basis. So, of course, the health department, if they do get notified or if there's a complaint about your business, they will, and trust me, they'll take it serious. They will come to your house and they will inspect you. Now, this is interesting too. Can I use a commercial equipment in my home kitchen as a home processor? No, you actually cannot use gigantic commercial equipment in your home kitchen. It's not permitted. Home processors are expected to use ordinary kitchen facilities. So can I make products with nuts as a home processor? Yes, you can use commercially processed nuts, as I mentioned before. Nuts in your home processed foods or goods are fine. Raw nuts are not allowed due to safety concerns. Okay, so next up, are there any restrictions on using raw ingredients in my home processed goods? Yes, as a matter of fact, there are. The use of raw ingredients such as raw nuts is prohibited. All ingredients must be properly processed and safe for consumption. So you want to buy it in bulk, but it's already been used. Next up, now can I use alcohol in my home processed products? No. Products containing alcohol are actually not allowed under the home processor exemption. So that's a big no on that one. Do I need to collect sales tax on my home processed goods? Now, for information about regarding sales tax requirements, this is a really tricky thing. You want to check with the Department of Taxation and Finance within New York State. It's not sure as to whether cottage food laws or cottage home-based businesses are exempt. You want to check on that. Can I ship my home processed goods to customers outside of New York? No. So the sale of processed goods from your home must be limited to the state of New York only. Shipping products outside of state is prohibited and not allowed under the law. What should I do if I want to add more products to my approved list of processors? To add more products to your list, believe it or not, you will need to submit a supplemental registration request indicating the additional products you wish to include. So I'm going to wrap it up right there. I will limit those questions. We got a handful of them, and I went ahead and included a few of them. But that's all in all a really good rundown of what you can expect as far as New York State's cottage food laws or the home processors. Now, let me run over really quick a couple other things as far as what you can actually sell in dollar amount, because it's very interesting. They have no sales limit. So as I mentioned, you could see in the the thumbnail, I put $500,000. If you can sell $1 million, you're allowed to do it. There is no sales limit. That's one of the unique thing about New York State. You can literally sell up to $1 million from your home. It's a great idea to try out a food business as food entrepreneurs, and I highly recommend it. So I will see you guys in the next video.